Welcome to your September 2021 horoscope. My name is Kaylin, and today I'm going to be covering all of the major transits using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. I strongly recommend that you watch your horoscope for your ascendant sign first and foremost, because it will be the most overall accurate for you. The sun sign horoscope will pertain more to your career and your life goals, whereas your moon sign horoscope will tell you more about your family life and your current living circumstances. If you have time to watch all three horoscopes, I recommend that you do so because it will give you a very well-rounded and blended picture of what you can expect for the month ahead. And now let's dive into the horoscopes. Hi Sagittarius Sun, Moon and Risings, welcome to your September 2021 horoscope. On the 3rd of September, Mars in Virgo in your 10th house will be opposed by Neptune in Pisces in your 4th house. The 4th house rules over your home and your family life, whereas the 10th house represents your career and your public self. So there's a bit of a compromise here which needs to be reached. You may have a lot of demanding career responsibilities which require you to sacrifice time with your family. On a different level, if you are getting extremely frustrated by these career responsibilities, you can actually lean on your family for support at this time, because Neptune is a planet which represents unconditional love and support, and it is quite self-sacrificing. So you may find that your family are more than happy to be a sounding board for you, or they may just be showing you a lot of support with your career at this time. On a different note, Mars rules over your 12th house, which represents information which is secret. So you may be inclined to hide the extreme levels of frustration that you're experiencing with regard to your work from your family or from your children and your significant other. Mars rules over your 5th house, which represents your romantic life and your children. So rather than hiding all of this tension and frustration which you're feeling, I strongly recommend that you lean into 5th house activities, such as spending time with your children or going out on a date with your loved one. And the 5th house also rules over sport and playing games. So literally just kicking the footy around and having fun with your friends or just playing games could allow you to blow off a lot of steam. Now, on the 5th of September, Mercury in Libra in your 11th house will trine Saturn in Aquarius in your 3rd house. This can see your work on a long-term project or even a very large-scale project going really well. With Saturn here making this trine to Mercury, this represents you finally seeing some stability in this long-term project. Saturn rules over your 2nd house of finances, so perhaps this project that you've been working on is finally starting to yield consistent fiscal results. On a different note, Mercury rules over your 10th house of career and it rules over your 7th house of one-on-one relationships. So you may be bringing a business partner on board, or you may be forming a connection with someone in your wider network who can assist you with elevating your career. The 3rd house rules over communications, and it also represents learning new skills. So you could be working on a project which involves learning something new, or you could be required to master some level of understanding in a subject. On a different note, Saturn represents government bodies and making something official. So perhaps you are finally being offered a contract for a long-term project, or it could be a business partnership. Once again, Mercury rules over your career and it rules over your 7th house, which rules contracts, and Mercury itself is connected with paperwork and contracts. So on one level, you may be offered work which is very stable, but on a different note, some kind of project that you've been working on may have required some sort of government sign-off or a permit or some kind of official documentation. So this transit is basically indicating that you may get a green light in respect to one or more of those things. Now, on the 6th of September, Venus in Libra in your 11th house will trine Jupiter in Aquarius in your 3rd house. Jupiter is your ruling planet, And once again, your 11th house and your 3rd house are being activated here, and they are both very social houses. So around the 5th or 6th of September, some very important correspondences or communications with other individuals will take place. Now, with this particular transit, an increase in your salary is indicated here because Venus represents money, Jupiter represents wealth, and Venus rules over your 11th house, which is connected to your salary and gains. So you may be asked to work on a project which involves a small team of individuals. You may even be required to spearhead this project, and that is because Jupiter rules over your 1st house. In any case, I do see this as having a positive impact on your financial earning capacity in the long term. You may not necessarily see this take place straight away, and that is because the 11th house rules over things which are long term. And once again, this is about your gains. So this indicates that whatever project you are working on, which could require very long hours, or it could even take years, it will have a positive impact on your financial earning capacity, even if this is right down the end of the road when the contract concludes. Now, on a different note, this indicates that you may be required to teach online or teach a large group of people. So Jupiter, which is your ruling planet, is also the planet of wisdom. And because it's in your 3rd house of education and trining Venus in your 11th house, which represents very large groups of people, there could be some kind of teaching opportunity here. Now, it could be teaching about health as represented by Venus ruling over your 6th house, or it could just be related to you teaching as a new responsibility for your work. And lastly, this transit indicates that you could form some new friendships. So keep an eye out for anyone who you may be introduced to via the workplace or who you may even meet via social media. Now, on the 7th of September, there will be a new moon in Virgo in your 10th house, and it will be opposing Neptune in Pisces and making a couple of trines. So this new moon will be trining Pluto in Capricorn in your 2nd house and trining Uranus in Taurus in your 6th house. New moons indicate a new beginning taking place somewhere in our lives. Now, because this is occurring in your 10th house of career and your public persona, it's highly likely that this new moon will indicate a change when it comes to your career. Now, because of this trine to Uranus in the 6th house, which is also connected to your work, it's likely that this change will be quite unexpected for you. So this could be a new promotion. This could be a new job altogether, especially if you've been looking for employment and if you've been out of the workforce for quite a while, or it could involve a change in department. This could be a promotion which involves an increase in pay as represented by this trine to Pluto in Capricorn in your 2nd house. But it doesn't need to involve a change in finances. For some of you, it may just be like a figurehead position, but this could have a very transformational impact on your own self-worth as represented by Pluto transforming your values and how you perceive yourself. Now, on a different note, this could see you making plans to retire. Now, this could come as quite a shock to people in the workplace, and that's because of this trine to Uranus in your 6th house. Uranus rules over your 3rd house, which represents how you think and what your mentality is. So this plan to retire or to simply resign from your current job could even come as quite a shock to you. In any case, trines are very beneficial and harmonious aspects. So whatever plans you are putting into place over this period of time, they will yield a very positive result and things will go quite better than you expected. And lastly, with this new moon in your 10th house, you may actually just want to take some kind of career break or a sabbatical. With this opposition to Neptune in Pisces in your 4th house, you may be inclined to spend time with your loved ones, or this may be a sacrifice that you are making because you need to look after someone in your immediate family. Now, on the 15th of September, Mars will enter the sign of Libra, which means it will be transiting your 11th house. Wherever Mars goes, this is where we put a lot of our energy and effort. So the 11th house rules over your long-term goals and long-term projects. So you'll be very interested in throwing all of your energy into these projects that you've been wanting to work on, or you may even decide to try and invent something. Mars represents doing something new and solving problems. Now, Mercury will also be in Libra in your 11th house at this time. So you may have quite new and inspired ideas to invent something. Mars rules over engineering, and it also rules over using equipment, tools, and it also can show you having quite inventive ideas which involve mechanics in some way, shape, or form. Now, with Mercury here, you may be interested in cars or developing apps or devices. You could be interested in developing something to do with computers or very large-scale interconnected systems. But on a different note, with the 11th house representing your long-term goals and dreams, and Mars having this almost predatory and hunter spirit, you could just be hunting down your goals and dreams with gusto. So if there is anything that you have been wanting to work on or develop, or some kind of large-scale project which you have been thinking about starting for ages, this is an amazing time to do so. Now, on a different level with this transit, you may actually start dating a friend in secret. And that is because Mars rules over your 5th house of romance and dating, and it also rules over your 12th house, which once again represents anything which is secret and hidden, with Mercury in your 11th house and ruling your 7th house of one-on-one relationships and partnerships. If there's someone that you have been wanting to ask out for ages, even if this is just a friend of a friend or someone that you were introduced to a very long time ago, this can see you finding the courage to finally ask them out, and you may get the answer that you were hoping for. Now, on the 21st of September, there will be a full moon in Pisces in your 4th house, and it will be conjunct Neptune. Full moons indicate the ending of a chapter or a cycle taking place in our lives. And once again, the 4th house rules over your living circumstances, property, and family. So some of you may be selling your property, or you could be purchasing a new property. If you are currently renting, you may be required to relocate from your property. It's important to note that with this particular full moon, it will actually be sextiling Pluto in Capricorn in your 2nd house. So this full moon is likely to have a very gentle and healing energy to it. So if you are leaving your current residence, or if you are buying or selling, it's likely that this will go really well, and you could even receive a helping hand from your family. Now, lastly, with the full moon in your 4th house, this can see you experiencing some kind of healing energy when it comes to any kind of childhood issues that you've been dealing with. The 4th house represents our deep psychological foundations. So once again, there is an indicator here that something will be transformed for you on a deep level with regard to family. And then on the 23rd of September, Venus in Scorpio in your 12th house will be opposed by Uranus in Taurus in your 6th house. So this can lead to some kind of work opportunity arising. Now, with this work opportunity, you may need to keep it a secret. And once again, this is because the 12th house rules over hidden information and secret information. So perhaps your boss has asked you not to share this with the other employees, or this work opportunity could involve very deep research, which is another function of the 12th house. And it could involve very progressive technology. Now, on a different level, this can lead you to having some kind of health-related epiphany. Venus rules over your 6th house, which represents your health, and the 12th house represents any kind of self-sabotaging behavior which you may be exhibiting. With this opposition to Uranus in your 6th house of help, you can have a total change of mentality here. And you may decide to cut out some kind of daily habit which was having a very negative and toxic impact on you. Now, Venus rules over your 11th house of friendships. And because it's in the 12th house, which dissolves things, you may actually be abruptly ending some kind of friendship which has been out of balance for a long time. The 6th house rules over toxicity and anything which is out of balance or any kind of conflict that we're experiencing in our day-to-day lives. So with the 6th house also representing your boss and your employees, you may actually say goodbye to an employee or your boss may resign. In any case, Uranus represents things happening in a very unexpected manner. So perhaps you weren't expecting your boss to leave abruptly, or perhaps you thought that your employee would stick around for a long time and now you experience a sense of relief that they've decided to leave the workplace. Now lastly, for September 2021, on the 27th of the month, Mercury will station retrograde in Libra in your 11th house. So, as you've noticed, the 11th house is strongly activated for you for the whole of the month. With Mercury being retrograde here, it's likely that you will be reevaluating and rethinking all of your long-term goals and dreams. You may decide to take a very different approach. Mercury rules your 10th house of career, and it also rules over your 7th house of one-on-one relationships. So if you've been working on a long-term project with a business partner, you may decide to renegotiate the terms of this contract or of this relationship. This could see you saying goodbye to the connection altogether, or if you do have contracts in place with this individual, you may decide to ask for more money, or you may simply be renegotiating the terms of the contract. Maybe you want to work on a different part of the project, or maybe you want to step back from the amount of responsibilities that you have with regard to this project. Like I said, Mercury rules over your 10th house, which represents your boss. So you may be going to your boss and wanting to renegotiate the terms of your working contract with them. On a different note, the 11th house rules over large-scale events. So if you have been planning some kind of big event, this could see you needing to reschedule it, postpone it, or cancel it altogether. On a different note though, this could mean that you have to change the fundamental structure of the event that you have been planning. The 11th house also rules over lectures and web conferences. So if you had been planning to give a lecture during the Mercury retrograde period, which will span from the 27th of September through to around the 19th or the 20th of October, you may be required to make some significant changes here. On a different level, the 11th house rules over your friendships. So you may be reconnecting with friends who you haven't spoken to for a long time. These could be people who reach out to you, or you could decide to reach out to them. And a lot of you may be reevaluating your existing friendships. I'm sure a lot of Sagittarians are going to be making some big changes to the friendships that they currently have in their lives. Now, lastly, with this transit, you may just be having a number of miscommunications with your friends or even with an older sibling, as represented by the 11th house. With Mercury retrograde in your 11th house and with Mars transiting your 11th house, tensions could be running high in a lot of your friendships, so make sure you're actually thinking about things long and hard before you decide to unceremoniously cut someone out of your life. And so Sagittarius, that's all I have for you for September 2021. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy your month ahead and take care.